Hesburgh Library and its Touchdown Jesus mosaic pointing the way to Notre Dame Stadium and today's intrastate battle with Purdue. The tailgaters weathering a morning shower. The field was covered when Rick Prefsker had his first look today. He was so inspired by the history of Notre Dame Stadium that as a youth, he took home a clump of grass. Today, he will quarterback Purdue on that same side. Sellout crowd at Notre Dame Stadium the 114th time as the Boilermakers take on the 9th-ranked Irish. It's become traditional that it rain when Purdue and Notre Dame play, and that's not the exception today. Showers are predicted for the afternoon, 67 degrees, high humidity with a wind up to 10 miles an hour. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Notre Dame Stadium. Tom Hamlin and Chris Collinsworth ready for the Irish and the Boilermakers. Purdue comes into the game 2-0 for the first time since 1978. They beat up on a couple of Mid-American Conference teams with a running game even Lou Holtz would envy.
Yeah, Tom, they are doing a tremendous job running the football, averaging 50 points per ball game so far, 350 yards per game on the ground, third in the nation, and they have one of the outstanding fullbacks in all of college football in Mike Allstott. Here's a guy that trained by pushing cars uphill. Once he gets into the middle, very difficult to bring down. He'll be leading the way for another great running back by the name of Corey Rogers. A guy that reminds you a little bit of Marcus Allen, slips and slides, a great blocker as well.
Well, meanwhile, last week, Notre Dame escaped with a one-point victory at Michigan State, and we found out the young quarterback, Ron Paulus, is indeed mortal.
He is indeed. They gave him a very difficult time. 4 interceptions against Hank Bulla's defense from Michigan State last week. Played a lot of people up front, blitzed him, confused him, had a very difficult time, but did come back in the fourth quarter to throw the winning touchdown pass.
Well, these two Indiana colleges play today for the Shillelagh Trophy. It's a series dominated by Notre Dame in recent years. They've won 8 in a row. And John Dockery, some of the Irish fans think it's a series that should be ended.
You know, Tom, this article in the Irish Sports Report, not exactly flattering to Purdue. Look at the headline. Purdue-Notre Dame used to be a great rivalry. Now it's boring. And they talk about 1-10 last year and 9 losing seasons and counting. And you can bet this will be used as motivation bulletin board material by Purdue. And that should help some. But probably more important is the weather. Last couple of years, they played in really bad weather, and the Boilermakers played the Irish real tough. Right now, there is some sun, but if you look out over the horizon, over the rim of the stadium, you see some dark clouds, and they're talking about heavy rain. If that happens, it will favor the Purdue running game, and of course, it does produce turnovers, something Notre Dame has had some problems with this season. They already have 8 turnovers in a mere 3 games, almost as many as they had last year, Tom.
All right, John, Purdue and Notre Dame, the Irish getting ready to come on the field. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to Notre Dame Stadium, where just a few moments ago, the Purdue Boilermakers made their appearance on the field, reversing, as did Michigan, the normal order of things, forcing Notre Dame to come out first and then following with their own entrance. It was a mind game started by Michigan in the home opener for the Irish that paid off, perhaps, in a victory for the Wolverines. Jim Colletto is the coach of Purdue. In his 4th season, he says this is the best team he's had so far in West Lafayette. And the good news is about 85% of them will be back. They're a young team, but 2-0 coming into this game. And there's Ron Paulus, who will lead the Notre Dame attack. The Irish playing without their leading rusher, tailback Lee Becton. And Ryan Leahy, starting tackle, is also out. You see the injury report for the Irish. Some key players missing today, Chris.
Absolutely. And the question, of course, in this game is, can Purdue continue to run the football the way they have on some of those Mid-American teams against the Fighting Irish from Notre Dame? Amazing numbers they put up so far, but they haven't done it against the caliber of a team like Notre Dame.
Last week, 448 rushing yards against Ball State, the first time they've been over 400 since the 1976 season. Let's go down to the field. John Dockery. Doc?
You know, it's something to watch on the kickoffs, Tom and Chris, is that Lou Holtz not happy with either his kickoff coverage team or his kickoff return team. So you're going to see a lot of freshmen on those teams. John McLaughlin, number 33. We'll see Jeff Kramer, number 61. Lou not happy, and you know how return and special teams at Notre Dame are usually stellar. That's not the case so far this year.
Purdue has won the toss and will defer to the second half. So the Boilermakers will kick off to begin the game, and Notre Dame will have the first possession. Sun peeking through the overcast clouds. The wind gusts at times over the top of the stadium. But the flagpoles on the stadium floor itself and on the goalposts don't seem to be moving much at all. There you see the 114th consecutive sellout crowd here at Notre Dame Stadium. So Purdue has huddled on the sideline and will run on the field. And Brad Bobich will get set to kick off for the Boilermakers. For Notre Dame, as usual, the speedster Mike Miller is the deepest man, with Zellers and Stafford about 10 yards upfield. There's Miller.
Last week, Michigan State absolutely refused to kick to Mike Miller.
Bobich with a kick. And Miller will field it at the 1. Miller with a cutback, hit hard and dropped at the 21-yard line. Good special teams coverage. Ryan Phipps makes the tackle for Purdue. Ron Paulus now leads his Notre Dame offense onto the field. The offensive line has been scrambled a bit by injury, with Akers taking over at tackle for the injured Ryan Leahy. And in the backfield, some changes too. Kinder gets the start, replacing Lee Becton. He is the number 2 rusher on the team. Mays and Miller, outstanding wide receivers. McBride, the tight end. Zellers, the blocking fullback. Kinder with the first carry of the game. Purdue strung it out for a moment in. Kinder breaks down the sideline, cuts back, and is finally bumped out of bounds in Purdue territory at the 42-yard line by Derek Brown. Randy Kinder bounces to the outside for a gain of 37.
Ray Zellers with a nice lead block on this play. How'd you like to have a guy like Randy Kinder as your backup running back? All he did was set a Notre Dame indoor record in the 200 meters, ran it in 21:11. The guy can fly, and he's the backup.
From East Lansing, Michigan, so had a big game against the Spartans last week in his hometown. First down, Irish. This time, trying the right side is Emmett Mosley. And Mosley close to the 30-yard line, where Joe Higgins makes the tackle after a gain of 11. Ball came loose at the end. Let's see if it was whistled dead. It will be Notre Dame football.
Emmett Mosley, a converted wide receiver, now playing running back because of the injury to Lee Becton. Makes a nice move to get out around the corner. Dusty Ziegler leading the way. Now watch the ball pop out when he hits the ground. The key is, was he down?
His knee hadn't been down.
I don't think he was down. He was lying on the back of the Purdue player. Maybe a missed call early by the officials and a break for the Irish.
Bad break for Purdue. Irish keep it on the ground to Zellers, and Zellers biting off chunks of yardage. He got 3 or 4 yards straight ahead against this Purdue defense. Tackle that time by Aaron Hall. Here's the way the Boilermakers line up defensively. Kingsbury, Washell, Crick, and Birchfield up front. Pretty good linebackers, though they aren't deep. Hall, Conley, and Batten. The man to watch on defense is the free safety Joe Higgins. He also plays some offense. He is the key to this defensive unit for the Boilermakers. Zellers now at the tailback spot behind Mark Edwards at fullback. 3 wide receivers in the game. Paulus has yet to pass. Now changing the play. First attempt, Ron Paulus caught by a wide open Charles Stafford, who's out of bounds for a first down inside the Purdue 20.
Charles Stafford.
Well, if Lou Holtz won't call a pass play for him, he'll just go up and change it at the line of scrimmage and throw one himself. Ron Paulus with the checkoff, saw man coverage. Easy flip out to Charles Stafford.
So far, Notre Dame moving at will on the Purdue defense. They took the ball over at their own 21. They're now down inside the 20-yard line of the Boilermakers. That's the kind of season Paulus has had. Here's the option. Paulus pitches to Zellers. Zellers got a block on the corner. He's to the 10-yard line. Aaron Hall, the linebacker finally getting over to stop Ray Zellers running from the tailback spot.
Tom, you have to wonder about the decision by Jim Coletto to defer taking the football until the second half. It may well be pouring in the second half. And now Notre Dame taking the ball in the good weather and good conditions and simply driving it down the throats of the Boilermakers.
Boilermakers have not even been able to slow them down yet. 9 yards on that one. Zellers, big hole. Tripped up inside the 10, down to about the 6-yard line.
Now's when it gets dangerous for Purdue. They're having to come up, play the 8-man front in order to try and slow down this Irish running game. And two outstanding wide receivers in Derek Mays and Mike Miller. Very difficult to cover them throughout the course of this one in man coverage.
7th play of the drive. Randy Kinder is back in. His 37-yard run tied Becton for the longest of the season for the Irish. Here's the full house backfield. Kinder played well by Purdue that time. Twists his way to the 5-yard line, but they came up to play it well. John Jackson from the corner forced the play. Bart Conley was there too. Best defensive play so far by the Boilermakers.
And John Jackson is the brother of a quarterback I used to play against in the National Football League, Steve Jackson. Played with Houston for many years. Made a nice play coming up on the corner there.
Steve Jackson, the Purdue MVP in 1990, also quarterback, as you said. From the 5-yard line, it's 2nd down. Edwards, nothing. Center of the Purdue defense stiffens that time to stop Mark Edwards on his first carry of the game.
Well, so far, very impressive goal line stand by Purdue. What a lift it would give this football team. Heavy underdogs coming in here if they could hold the Irish to a field goal. First time out.
It'll set up 3rd and goal from just inside the 5-yard line. No score, opening series of the game, and the 9th play of the Notre Dame drive. Play action pass. Paulus decides to run and is dropped at the line of scrimmage. Darnell Howard made the play on Ron Paulus, and the Irish, after a very impressive drive, stall at the 5-yard line and must go for the field goal attempt.
Good decision there by Ron Paulus. Leon Wallace, the tight end, was trying to get in behind Purdue's defense, and they had that defensed with about 5 different guys on the outside. Tough angle for this field goal.
Tom Krug will hold for Stefan Schloffner, a 22-yard attempt. And it bounces off, no good. It hit the upright and bounced back. So Notre Dame takes the opening kickoff, marches all the way to the 5-yard line, and comes away with no points. Jim Coletto and company with the ball coming back after this missed field goal. Lou Holtz watched from the sideline as the Irish set up for that field goal attempt. Ron Paulus doing a little coaching of the coach, and Holtz saying things had just not fallen into place for this team.
Yeah, and one thing you never do is you interrupt Lou Holtz when he's picking grass. Another bad break. Well, they really have here. The Michigan game we saw a couple of weeks ago, the blocked field goal actually worked against the Irish.
So Purdue, fortunately, escapes without being scored upon. And here's that running attack, which gets only a yard first time out of the box. Corey Rogers carrying. Here's the way the Boilermakers will line up offensively. This is a huge offensive line. You'd think they would be suited to run blocking, especially Damon Lewis, the guard on the left side, 370 pounds. The quarterback, Riff Trefsker, has passed only 27 times this season, hitting 52%. Rogers and Allstott, that potent running game. Thornton, Allen, and Stevens haven't gotten much of a chance to catch the football so far this season. 3 wides in on 2nd and long, and a play-action pass. Trefsker, the lefty, fires it incomplete out of the hands of Craig Allen, his intended receiver, covered by Brian McGee. There's a penalty marker down in the Purdue backfield, and it will be against the Boilermakers.
What a great throw that time by Trefsker. Hit Craig Allen right on the money. Just flat out drop. Purdue offensively needs to get a few things going early in this ball game to build their confidence.
Holt says decline it.
Holding on the offense. Decline. Third down.
So Trefsker now faces a 3rd and 9. And this is where the running game is rendered impossible to use.
Let's look at Bobby Turner, the offensive coordinator. He read that article that John Dockery showed you earlier, and he said, well, maybe we just shouldn't even show up today. We probably don't have much of a chance. And he let some of his team read that article as well.
3 wide receivers. Olivadotti joins Thornton and Allen. Trefsker's pass is complete, but just short of the first down by a yard. A good hit there made by Justin Goheen and Bobby Taylor to prevent the receiver from getting first down yardage, and Purdue facing a punting situation with 4th and 1.
Justin Goheen saying, nah, baby. Stopped him just short, about a foot away. Just absolutely a perfect tackle was the only thing that could have prevented that first down.
Kirk Olivadotti making the reception but held short. And Rob Degnan with his first punt of the day. Sailing to Miller at the 29. Brings it back after a 40-yard punt 5 yards, and the Irish will take over in this scoreless first quarter. Less than 9 minutes left in the first quarter. Notre Dame with its 2nd possession of the game. First down at their own 37. Paulus lofts it up, and it hits the back of the defender intended for Ray Zellers. Aaron Hall had let Zellers get behind him, and Paulus' pass hit him in the back.
Aaron Hall, perhaps the fastest of all the Purdue linebackers, was simply able to run this one down. He was beaten badly on the play by Zellers and let his back make a play.
Kinder. Nothing there. They stopped the run after a gain of only a yard. Derek Brown came up quickly from his corner spot. Let's go on the field. John Dockery. Doc?
You know, Chris and Tom, you won't have to wonder after Michigan State whether there's a little hangover for Ron Paulus or not. I mean, that ball was underthrown. And also the defensive coaches here at Purdue, I was listening in, and they simply said, hey, forget everything. All we want to do is get pressure on Paulus, jump the gaps, get pressure on him, and things will happen defensively for us. Back to you.
All right, Doc. And Chris, perhaps the first crisis of confidence for Paulus after last week.
There's has to be some doubt. Lou Holt says that he didn't lose any confidence in the young man. He just wonders if his confidence is down. Said he had a terrible week of practice.
Purdue has called a timeout. They had a mix-up in their defensive unit. Call a timeout with 8:14 remaining. Purdue's defense forced to spend a valuable timeout after a mix-up, and Notre Dame has it 3rd and 9. Paulus rolling and pitching to Miller, incomplete. It's short hop Mike Miller, and Chris, throwing on the run has been one thing Paulus has not done well.
Yeah, and it's something that the Notre Dame coaching staff is concerned about. Offensive coordinator Dave Roberts telling me just before the ball game that they spent the entire week working with Paulus, trying to improve his ability to throw the ball in the run, and you just have to wonder whether or not some of the arm problems that he's had may be troubling him on the run, because it puts so much more pressure on the elbow when you're rolling out.
Has tendonitis and throws sparingly in practice every week, Paulus. First punt for Brian Ford, and the dangerous Craig Allen, 6th in the nation in punt returns. Backpedals to take that one and evades the first would-be tackler. Gets to the outside, hit out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. The punt covered 48 yards, then Allen brought it back 9, and the Boilermakers were their second possession of the game.
But Tom, the big story so far in this first quarter has been the defense of the Boilermakers. Bob Morris was concerned whether or not his team could even stay on the field with the Fighting Irish. Two successful series for the Boilermakers, and they have to have a little confidence now as they sit over there and discuss strategy.
Hey, that's a good job on the coverage.
Good job on the coverage indeed. First down for the Purdue offense. Allstott bouncing off men to the 26-yard line. 3 or 4 yard gain by Mike Allstott. Brian McGee made the tackle.
Gary Moeller says he doesn't know a better fullback in the country than Mike Allstott.
Here's the defensive alignment for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Rasmanis, Gibson, and Hamilton up front. They've been shuffled around a bit. Naw, Sample, Goheen, and Wynn. Bobby Taylor, the leader of that secondary, preseason All-American. Tresker with plenty of time, drilled it. Justin Goheen on the coverage. It bounced off Allstott, hit him in the pads and bounced free. It would have been a short gain anyway.
I thought Justin Goheen may have gotten there just a tad early on this play. Allstott coming out of the backfield. Look at the protection, though. Doing a nice job up front. Goheen coming up over the top. The official letting him get away with it.
Very close call. See what a season this senior from Wexford, Pennsylvania has had. One of the best. 3 wides in the formation for the Boilermakers. Again, time. Tresker hits Rogers, and he's wrestled down after a gain of only a couple of yards. So Tresker again throwing underneath, and the Irish preventing a first down. They'll have to punt for the second time. Jeremy Sample credit for that last defensive play.
And the crowd really appreciates what Bob Davie has done with this defensive unit. 10 sacks last week, an all-time high for the Irish, turning into a very much more physical defense than they've had here in the past.
Dagan's punt. Miller from the 30. Flag down. Good coverage by Purdue. 6-yard return after Degnan booted it 41. We'll check the penalty marker. This is a split crew, Big Ten and Mid-American Conference officials. Dick Honig from the Big Ten, the referee. And the Irish caught with the infraction. They'll back it up.
And the Irish continue to make mistakes. When you're playing against a team like Purdue that's a heavy underdog, you don't want to keep them in the ball game too long. The longer they stay in it, the more they begin to believe. They get their spirit going, and makes it that much tougher.
On the return team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Illegal block in the back against the Irish. So Coletto has Notre Dame backed up to its own 25-yard line. Irish took the opening kickoff at about the 21, marched all the way down to the Purdue 5, where they were held and missed a field goal. We're 0-0 with 6.5 minutes left first quarter. Zeller to the outside. Gain of 6 to the 31-yard line, tackled by Aaron Hall. Doc?
Hey, you know, Tom and Chris, you've been talking about the defense being on the field for a while. I mean, how long can they last? I talked to Jim Coletto right before the game, and he said the thing that worried him most, scared him to death, was the defensive backfield. 2 sophomores and a freshman at the corner, number 31, Derek Brown. So you might want to keep an eye on that.
So far, Ron Paulus has been unable to exploit the young secondary.
Well, they really haven't tried so far.
Kinder, close to a first down. A late flag comes flying in. And a face mask against Purdue will ensure it's a Notre Dame first down.
Face mask on the defense, 5 yards, first down.
See if we can pick up the face mask penalty. Eric Gray with a bit of a twist.
And so the Irish have it at their own 40 with a first down. Kinder breaks through the line of scrimmage. Kinder tackled at the Purdue 36-yard line. John Jackson made a touchdown saving tackle after Kinder ripped off 23 yards.
Boy, did you see the block on that play by Ray Zellers, number 34, the fullback. The lead blocker coming through on the hole just crumples his man and allows Randy Kinder to run free in the secondary. Boy, do those tailbacks love having the big stud fullback in front of them. Keeps them pretty.
In this case, two of the best in the country on display. Kinder's carried 5 yards, 5 times, 67 yards, thanks to some of those Zellers blocks. Zellers gets a chance to carry the ball, and he's hard to bring down. John Jackson got him by a shoe top. Gain of 8.
Tom, one of the basic plays in the Irish repertoire, the first option on the triple option. This is a play in which Ron Paulus actually reads the defensive tackle, makes a decision, hands it off, and they say that if there's any indecision at all, just hand it to the big guy, number 34. Let him see what he can do.
Zellers and Farmer in the backfield. 109 yards rushing already for the Irish. Leading Purdue in its own game. Robert Farmer to the 17-yard line. First down, Notre Dame.
And Bob Morris has to be concerned. Anytime a team can just line up and whip you physically. Now it's up to Bob Morris to come up with a scheme. He's going to have to walk that 8th man up. I talked to him this week. He didn't want to have to do that because then he was forced into man coverage in the secondary, and there's really no way that this young secondary can stay with Notre Dame's receivers.
Already 6 players have carried the ball for the Irish. Paulus has passed only 3 times, hitting 1. Blitz comes. Farmer hit. Got away. 1-on-1 in the secondary. Taken down at the 10-yard line. Derek Brown again saving a touchdown for the Boilermakers.
And now it gets even worse for Bob Morris because that time he did play an 8-man front, and they still ripped it off for about 9.
Leon Wallace, a second tight end, comes in for the Irish. Stafford is also in on this second down play, 2nd and 2. Farmer tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of about 3 yards back to the 11.
Let's give Purdue's defense some credit. No question about it. They're outmanned in this ball game. Bart Conley, just a hard-nosed, blue-collar type of linebacker. But every time Notre Dame has been able to get it down, look at the push. Actually, the offensive lineman himself that tripped up Robert Farmer. But every time that Purdue's been backed up to their own goal line, they've made plays.
8th play of the Notre Dame drive. They've all been on the ground. Zellers and Farmer. And again, Purdue, backed up in the shadow of its own goal, comes up with a defensive stand. It'll be 4th down. And Holt sends the kicking unit onto the field. Scrafford, you'll remember, had a first attempt of about 21 or 22 yards that hit the upright.
How about that defensive stand by Jim Coletto's squad? John Crick coming in there and standing stout, making the play. Very impressive opening for Purdue.
So Scott Senja has replaced Schaffner on the place kick. It'll be his first attempt. It comes from 30 yards. Senja boots it up and through. Senja with a field goal puts the Irish up 3-0. Scott Senja's first career field goal has given Notre Dame a 3-0 lead in the closing minutes of the first quarter. Senja will kick off. Bounces and is taken by Allen. Craig Allen cutting back. Spun around and he still got free for a moment. Stopped short of the 25-yard line. Now the Purdue offense tries to get something going as the fans go to the rain gear. As the rain starts to fall as predicted here at Notre Dame Stadium. What's it like down on the field, John Dockery?
You know, it got a little bit cooler. You could feel the rain coming and a little bit darker. And right now it's a light drizzle. The field is fine, but you know, it'll get that thin coating, so you might see some people sliding. But as far as drainage goes, this is one of the best fields in the entire country. So just have to wait and see how heavy the rain is.
Well, let's see if Jim Coletto now gets back to what they do best, and that's run the football. So far, just 5 yards rushing in this game.
2 rushes for 5 yards. The Boilermakers have yet to amass a first down. Notre Dame has 7. Rogers, about a 3 or 4 yard gain on that first down run. Jeremy Sample was the man to make the hit for Notre Dame.
Well, earlier in the season, we saw Northwestern have some success against this defense. Corey Rogers, sort of the fun-loving guy of the odd couple, if you will. Mike Allstott, the fullback, and Corey Rogers. They say Allstott never breaks a smile, and you can't get Corey Rogers to shut up.
Allstott a throwback to the old-time fullbacks. In fact, Jim Coletto said in preseason, not many scrimmages they were afraid Allstott would have hurt somebody. Rogers, behind a block from Allstott, has crossed the 30. It'll be 3rd down and about 3 for the Boilermakers. Again, the inside linebackers of the Irish make the play. In this case, Justin Goheen.
Well, this is what Purdue has to do in the ball game, especially as the weather now begins to turn. The rain falls. Last year when they played at Purdue, the Boilermakers right in the ball game to the very end. The field got sloppy, a lot of turnovers in the game, and you know that's what they're hoping for again this afternoon.
Closing seconds of quarter number 1, 3-0 Irish. Dexter, again, good protection, threw it behind Allstott, his intended receiver. Not a good pass. The coverage was there anyway, and the route wasn't very good. It would have been short of the first down. Everything went wrong on that play for the Boilers.
And Bobby Turner, the offensive coordinator, was so excited coming into this game. He said our offense is hitting on all cylinders. And again, Justin Goheen with a bang-bang play working against Mike Allstott.
Another punt for the Boilermakers. Degnan has had 3 opportunities. Miller calls for a fair catch and drops it. Got it back at around the 30-yard line. And a flag. Could be a late hit on Purdue. Degnan's punt went 40 yards, and Miller muffed it, but got back on it.
Tom, there's no question that Notre Dame's the better football team of the 2 on the field right now, but not a lot of emotion out of the Irish. Sort of reminds you of the first half a week ago against Michigan State when they came out so flat.
Dead ball personal foul against the Boilermakers, hitting Miller after he was already down, and a bad mistake by Purdue, who can't afford any excess yardage marched off. Notre Dame has moved the ball at will as it is.
50-yard penalty.
All a little slippery.
Personal foul, late hit on the kicking team. 15. First down.
I believe that was Chris Copen who came in. The second hit, obviously, the foul.
So spot the ball across the Notre Dame 45-yard line where the Irish take over on a first down with just 9 seconds left in the opening quarter. Only 3 passes today for Ron Paulus, but the Irish have moved it on the ground, even though they have only 3 points on the board. Kinder again attacks the perimeter of the Purdue defense, and it nets him about 5 yards. John Jackson coming quickly to get him out of bounds with 2 seconds left in the quarter.
Tom, very conservative play calling so far by Lou Holtz and the Fighting Irish. You just get the feeling that they feel like they can outman this Purdue team and not wanting to take any chances throwing the football. He said he didn't lose any confidence in his quarterback, but after the way he struggled a week ago, you have to wonder.
Well, they've manhandled him pretty much on the ground, though they have no points to show for it to speak of. Draw play. Edwards will have a first down or close to it into Purdue territory, just inside the 45-yard line, as the first quarter comes to an end. So the Irish have moved the football on Purdue, but have only a field goal. At the end of the first quarter at Notre Dame Stadium, the Purdue Boilermakers trailing the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 3-0. Back to Notre Dame Stadium after these messages from your local station. We start the second quarter in a slight drizzle at Notre Dame Stadium. Tom Hammond, Chris Collinsworth staying dry. John Dockery is not. Down on the field.
Nothing worse than a broken umbrella in the rain.
First down Notre Dame. The Irish have gained 144 yards to only 22 for Purdue through the first quarter. Pass from Paulus on play action. Wobbly pass caught by Miller. Out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. Second completion for Paulus today.
John Jackson that time on Mike Miller was trying to play him from Cleveland. I'll tell you, the sprint champion scared John Jackson to death. No question, total domination in the first period by the Irish, but did a good job down around the goal line with Purdue's defense. They've held them out of the end zone.
And thus the score 3-0 Notre Dame. Here goes Kinder. Randy Kinder with a man to beat. Spins his way to the 2-yard line. 33 yards. Joe Higgins kept him from the end zone.
Well, I tell you, when Notre Dame's offensive line begins to get a push like this, just can be overwhelming. Jeremy Akers with a beautiful block on Aaron Hall, able to sustain the corner, and Randy Kinder didn't even get touched until he's 20 yards down the field.
First and goal Irish. Spot the ball just around the 3-yard line. Notre Dame up 3-0. Zellers hit behind the line and dragged down at the line of scrimmage. Well, Purdue's defense has been tough down close to its old goal line, but giving up chunks of yardage through the middle of the field. In fact, Randy Kinder has carried 7 times and already has over 100 yards, 105 yards.
Does Bob Morris have any more rabbits to pull out? His Purdue defense has spent the entire first quarter of the ball game backed up to their own goal line. They've pulled it off twice. Just have to wonder how much longer this can continue, though.
Is sacked at the 15-yard line. Jamie Washell did not go for the play action fake. He was on Paulus all the way.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Jamie Washell has one of my favorite quotes of all time. He said, you know, I have a simple philosophy. When a play starts, I look to see who's coming at me. If it's a blocker, I knock him down. If the guy has the ball, I kill him. That time he killed Ron Paulus.
Washell, homegrown. He's from Greenwood, Indiana. Twice All-State there. And it's 3rd and 15. Short drop. Now Paulus looks the other way. Plenty of time. Coverage broke down, and he threw it in the end zone. Great catch there made by Charles Stafford. Stafford in traffic. The ball hung up a little bit. Somehow he managed to retain possession for the score.
The band's quit playing. I can tell you that was absolutely a horrible decision by Ron Paulus. Just absolutely terrible. Should have been a ball that was intercepted. Got a break. Charles Stafford made a tremendous play.
It was his 9th TD pass, however, and Senja will attempt the extra point. Scott Senja missed it. Well, the Irish kicking game continues to sputter. Schroffner missed a field goal and was replaced by Senja, who now misses an extra point. But Purdue was offside. Oh, my goodness. It'll give Senja another chance.
Ron Paulus may have been poked in the eye that as he let the last one go. He walked off the field and was working on his face. Couldn't tell exactly what had happened.
Offsides on the defense. Repeat.
Critical mistake, offside by Coleto's team, and Senja misses. He goes to the bench, and Schroffner's back on. One mistake and out.
Not like playing horse.
Schroffner got it.
Charles Stafford worked his way all the way across the end line, and then Ron Paulus just floats it up in the air, and yeah, he knew it all along. Just let those guys make plays. Why not? I like that philosophy.
10-0 Irish. The tale of woe continues for the Purdue Boilermakers. They've now gone over 9 consecutive quarters without scoring against Notre Dame, and don't even have a first down in this one. 12:55 left to go in the first half. 10-0 Irish. Senja will kick it off. Squibs it, fumbled around, and finally picked up. The squib kick collared by the Boilermakers, Matt Kingsbury. And let's go on the field, and John Dockery. Doc?
Thank you, Tom. You know, Ron Paulus left the field before, and it appeared there might be something wrong, but he's fine. You might notice on his right arm, they taped it up. It's an abrasion that came open and started bleeding from the Michigan State game and some artificial turf, but he's fine. No problems with quarterback Ron Paulus. Back to you.
And now has 9 touchdown passes and 86 attempts this season. Purdue still looking for its initial first down. They trail 10-0. Corey Rogers slipped and will lose a yard. Nebraska pouring it on Pacific as expected, and Penn State on the way to a big victory. Auburn keeping that win streak going, apparently.
And now just so much pressure on Bobby Turner, the offensive coordinator. He has a running football team that's down 10 and can't run the football against Notre Dame. So what do? I suppose you let your quarterback Rick Trefsker take a shot, but this is not a football team that can beat Notre Dame via the pass.
Trefsker waited too long, sacked at the 20-yard line. Notre Dame came off a big sack week against the Spartans in East Lansing, and Justin Goheen gets the first of this game.
Yeah, but you can't blame Purdue's offensive line for that. Trefsker had all day to throw the football and also had Justin Goheen running right into his eyeballs. I don't know how he didn't just get rid of it here. That's pretty good pass blocking.
3rd and 17 for the Boilermakers. Draw play. Nothing doing for Rogers. And Purdue first down. They trail 10-0. Corey Rogers slipped and will lose a yard. Nebraska pouring it on Pacific as expected, and Penn State on the way to a big victory. Auburn keeping that win streak going, apparently.
And now just so much pressure on Bobby Turner, the offensive coordinator. He has a running football team that's down 10 and can't run the football against Notre Dame. So what do? I suppose you let your quarterback Rick Trefsker take a shot, but this is not a football team that can beat Notre Dame via the pass.
Waited too long, sacked at the 20-yard line. Notre Dame came off a big sack week against the Spartans in East Lansing, and Justin Goheen gets the first of this game.
Yeah, but you can't blame Purdue's offensive line for that. Trefsker had all day to throw the football, and also had Justin Goheen running right into his eyeballs. I don't know how he didn't just get rid of it here. That's pretty good pass blocking.
3rd and 17 for the Boilermakers. Draw play. Nothing doing for Rodgers. And Purdue has been worse than anemic offensively in this game. Still not a first down, and that time negative yardage.
And Jeremy Nall, the linebacker, told us yesterday how much fun they're having playing defense under Bob Davies' system. These guys are allowed to blitz. They're coming after the quarterback. They're making plays. And what a difference a year makes for Notre Dame. They had that one horrible series against Michigan, gave up that drive, but other than that, this is a much improved Fighting Irish defense.
Degnan, who is one of the best punters in college football, getting plenty of opportunity. That one covered 46 yards. It's been the only good thing that's happened to Purdue today. They trail by 10. Irish haven't even had to call on the Leprechaun today. A total domination of Purdue, even though it's only 10-0. 4 possessions, 13 total yards for the Boilermakers. They have yet to amass a first down.
He may have to break that tradition of a push-up for every point before this one's over.
Notre Dame's ball at its own 33. Paulus, first down pass, lofts it. Mays has it. Paulus let Mays run under it, and he has it down inside the 30 of Purdue to the 27-yard line. 40-yard pass. Joe Hagens, the free safety, prevented the touchdown.
I really think Tom Hammond, the Derek Mays, may be the best wide receiver in the country right now. He's going to run a little out and up route. This guy already has 4 touchdown receptions. The record at Notre Dame is 9, held by the great Jack Snow, who used to play for the Los Angeles Rams. Great speed, great courage. We saw him make the catch against Michigan for the apparent game winner. Sensational football player.
First down run by Mosley. Emmett Mosley turns the corner. Banged out of bounds after a gain of 7 or so, and the Irish continue to find running on the perimeter of the Purdue defense. They've turned the corner on numerous occasions.
No reason to throw it when you don't have to. Lou Holtz talked about how his team finally found a rhythm running the football in the second half against Michigan State, and I know he wanted to sort of adapt and give Ron Paulus a chance to throw the football this year, but he is a guy that believes in run first.
Mosley inside the 15. Notre Dame first down. John Crick in the center of the defense for the Boilermakers.
John Crick, just such an outstanding story. Took his spring break to Haiti and spent time in hospice down there for abandoned children. Said one of the most miserable experiences and enjoyable experiences of his life to go down there and having to actually hold these babies that families had just given up on. There was no mother or father for them. And he said there were so many, you couldn't hold them all, but you just did the best you could for a short period of time.
Heart-wrenching experience for Crick, and of course he can identify with Haiti so much in the recent news. That'll be delay of game against the Irish.
Hey, on the offense, 5 yards.
Crick, Chris, has had a very interesting career. He lost about 30 pounds when he was diagnosed with diabetes and suffered a season-ending knee injury against Notre Dame here in '92. So he has seen the ups and downs and certainly is a better person for it, as evidenced by his trip to Haiti.
Can you imagine walking through just a room full of abandoned babies? He said, he goes, I didn't want to hold one because then the others would start screaming, and I got so emotional of it, and finally I said to heck with it. I just started picking up as many as I could, and it was amazing to watch these little children respond.
And this huge man weighing nearly 290 pounds in the hospital holding the infants, and it was a touching scene for him, and he plans to return to Haiti.
He was in church one day and saw a brochure on the need for people to go to Haiti and to these hospitals, and decided all his friends were going to the beach for spring break, and he almost went, and he just couldn't get this brochure out of his mind and kept thinking about it. And finally his mother decided that if he wanted to go, she was going to put up the money, scrape together the cash, and he spent his spring break in the most memorable way.
Second and long for Paulus. Drills it complete to Mays. Got away from one man, then taken down, and a flag comes through late. Might be another face mask. We'll wait and see. Play made at about the 17. That was Bart Conley that wrapped up Mays.
One of the guys we haven't had much of a chance to talk about on this Purdue defense is Joe Hagens, their free safety. He was probably their best outside linebacker going into spring practice, but their secondary was so young, the coaching staff.
5 yards on the defense, 5 yards from the end of the catch. It's still second down.
Good solid catch here by Derek Mays. Then you get him down any way you can. Just right at the very end of the play, the face mask by Batten.
Paulus has now hit 5 of 7. Here's the option. Sellers, the first man through, got the handoff, dragged down at the 10-yard line by John Crick again.
I started telling the story about Joe Hagen, their best linebacker, but they were so young in the secondary, the coaching staff felt like they had to get somebody to a little experience back there, so they put Joe at free safety, and he has made some plays. He's made some mistakes too. He wants to play linebacker. Every time there's a handoff or an option coming down the line, he comes ripping up. So from time to time, play action gets him. But you'll see number 19 all over the football field. He throws his body around.
Paulus with plenty of time for the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Stafford. It'll be 4th down, and the big question is, who will get the chance to kick?
Maybe give Ron Paulus the square toe.
It will be Schroffner. Schroffner had the instant benching after missing the 21-yard field goal to open the game, but has returned and kicked a successful extra point. This one will cover 27 yards.
Drum roll, please.
Didn't look very good, but got through.
Look good to Lou Holtz.
He made the right choice. Irish extend their lead to 13 over Coletto and the Boilers. Rain coming down in earnest at Notre Dame Stadium now, where the Irish, with their second field goal, go up 13-0 on Purdue. And Scott Senja will kick it off. Samuel on the return. Bangs his way to the 36-yard line. Let's go to Hannah Storm now in New York to give us an update on some SEC football action. Tennessee and Mississippi State. Hannah?
Thanks, Tom. Well, Tennessee, ranked number 23, upset this afternoon by the Bulldogs. Winning touchdown, 36 seconds remaining, 4th and goal. Derek Tate, 2 yards to Kendall Watkins. Vols lost another quarterback and turned it over 6 times. Now they fall to 1-3 on the season. Let's send it back to South Bend.
All right, Hannah, you have to wonder how much that waxing by Florida at Neyland Stadium last week took out of the Vols.
I'll tell you what, the cowbells were ringing down there. I remember playing in that stadium.
Best field position all day for Purdue. Let's see if they can take advantage. There is a first down, the initial first down of the game. Burt Thornton on the receiving end of the Rick Tresker pass.
Well, so far during the course of the season, Tresker really hasn't had an opportunity to throw the football. That was very nicely delivered in there to Thornton. There's been some concern about his accuracy. Coletto saying that he hasn't been accurate in the games, hasn't been accurate in practice, didn't really have an explanation for it, but now they're in a position where have to just drop back and let it rip.
The junior from Wycliffe, Ohio, has passed for nearly 1,500 yards in his Purdue career, 16th all time. That one ill-advised, but a penalty marker down. This could be a Notre Dame interference call. Kirk Olivadotti was the intended receiver and hit by Sean Wooden. Kirk Olivadotti, son of Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator Tom Olivadotti.
I don't think Sean Wooden can believe he got a
Pass interference on the defense. It's a spot foul, automatic first down.
Sean Wooden was just standing right next to Olivadotti. Really wasn't much of a pass pattern, and the ball was thrown. He went up for it and just got there a little early.
And a first down for the Boilermakers. Allstott, no blocking whatsoever. Lucky to get a yard.
Really so reminiscent of the game last year. Allstott, considered one of the best fullbacks in the country, only able to rush for 15 yards against the Irish in 9 attempts a year ago. And once again, this seemingly impressive and overpowering running game for the Boilermakers. They couldn't get anything going.
Ryan Hamilton made that play for the Irish defense. Allstott, in fact, was voted the top fullback in the nation by the Sporting News. Short drop, jump pass, nice catch made by Allen. Craig Allen went upstairs to get it at the 25-yard line.
Craig Allen is such an excitable wide receiver. Coletto says he's like a newborn colt. He's so fast, he wants to do everything just so quickly, and he's jumping around and moving and always getting pumped up and excited, but sometimes makes a lot of mistakes because he gets too excited. Drops the first pass of the ball game, comes back and makes a nice play there.
Junior college All-American at Cerritos, California Community College, had only a couple of receptions coming into today's game, but that one went for 14 yards. Here's the option. Tresker will keep. He's to the Irish 18-yard line. Best drive by far of the day for Purdue. They got good field position, and they moved the football finally.
And they're doing it through the air, something they had not even attempted in their first 2 ball games. See big number 79, Ray Grigson, helping establish the corner. And anytime you can run the option, just limits so much what a defense can do. Defenses just cannot play man coverage against the option because there's no one there to force.
Allstott breaks free. Allstott pounds to the 3-yard line. Raw power, Mike Allstott, a gain of 15 yards.
He says no one can tackle me one-on-one. When he got in the secondary, just put his nose down. Here's a guy that used to train by pushing cars uphill. He would take Ford Bronco tires and tie a rope around his waist and drag him around the football field. Overpowering fullback once he gets a little room to run.
Purdue's first 9 rushes of the game netted all of 12 yards. That one covered 15. First and goal. Here's the give to Higgins. Touchdown. Joe Higgins, who plays safety, comes in on short yardage offensive attempts. That's his 4th carry of the season and his 3rd touchdown.
Stop the presses. New storyline developing in second quarter in South Bend.
Point is good. Bobich knocks it through. 7 plays, 64 yards, 2.5 minutes. What's going on here?
Look at the way that they establish the corner. What a block out there by Mike Allstott. Now you see why he is considered the best fullback in the country. And the Boilermakers are in it.
The slumber's over. Well, the Purdue offense has done a pretty good job of imitating Rip Van Winkle over the last few years. Shut out by Notre Dame in '92, again in '93, and through the first quarter and most of the second today. But new life. They're on the board and trailing just 13-7.
Mr. Everything, Joe Higgins, finishing off the drive. Presker's completed passes, though, really set that up.
Bovich with the kickoff. Miller will take it from the 7. Miller looks for a block and is cracked hard and knocked down at the 25-yard line by Ramon Batten. Well, we saw Hagan score that touchdown for Purdue, playing both offensively and defensively for the Boilermakers. Number 23, Leroy Keys, was the last two-way standout for Purdue. In 1966, Keys returns this fumble 94 yards against Notre Dame. And Keys later went on to become the Boilermakers' first 1,000-yard rusher. That came in the 1968 season. Joe Hagan's doing a pretty good Leroy Keys imitation for the Boilermakers. Problem with that is you get no time to rest, right back out on the field.
You have to chase the kick, too.
Kinder twists his way for a 3- or 4-yard gain, with Chike Okafor making the tackle for the Boilermakers. The freshman, homegrown at West Lafayette, will be a great player in the words of his coach Jim Coletto, a 3-year starter at West Lafayette High School, winner of the Indiana AA State Championship.
And Tom, you could just see a difference the way that Purdue's defense ran out on the field that time. The touchdown now gives the defense some hope.
Rain continues here in the South Bend area as Paulus is chased, got rid of it to Zellers, and a nice tackle made as Waschel was bearing down on Paulus. And then in the open field, Derek Brown made a tackle on Zellers.
Boy, good gutsy tackle that time by Derek Brown. One of the big offensive linemen coming down the field, and looked like he may have been decapitated on the play, but he hung in there long enough to make the tackle. A true freshman, so young in the secondary. But you can see the emotion level beginning to rise now.
Big 3rd and 5 play for the Irish. Paulus pressured. Plenty of room to run. Bumped out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Notre Dame first down. Okafor made the play on Paulus, but he found a big seam in the defense and ran for the first.
Well, you make a play on the Irish, you get their wide receivers covered, you cover the backs out of the backfield, you look like you're in good position, and then number 3 takes off and runs with it, and there's nobody left on the field. So many different ways that this Fighting Irish offense can beat you.
Kiefer finally knocking him out of bounds, but first down Irish at their own 40. 3:47 left in the half. 13-7 Notre Dame. Randy Kinder tripped up as he crosses the 45-yard line, a 5-yard gain on first down. He's carried 9 times now for 114 yards.
The Irish doing a much better job in this game offensively, hanging on to the football. So far, they've had 8 turnovers in just 3 games. That's projected out to 32 for the season. Last year, they had 12 the entire season in 12 games.
Leon Wallace, a tight end, spread wide to the left, the bottom of your screen. Mays and Miller to the top. The handoff to Mosley. Mosley knocked out of bounds at the 40. Another Irish first down. Joe Hagan's coming over to make the play, but a gain of 17.
And Emmett Mosley, the 2-time Colorado Big School Player of the Year, rushed for over 1,300 yards and 16 touchdowns as a senior. But remember, he's been playing wide receiver for the Irish. Mark Edwards leading the way, and that time Derek Brown deciding to just duck out of the way and open things up for Emmett Mosley.
Mosley did have 1 play at tailback last year, but has been a wide receiver with 3 receptions coming into the game. Quick hitter to Zellers, who keeps his balance with that hand to the turf and manages to gain about 8 yards to the 30-yard line.
Zellers such a hard-nosed player, but here showing a little finesse as well, getting that hand down on the ground, and was actually able to struggle forward for another 6 yards. Thought he should have had more.
Zellers, the senior from Pittsburgh, who has taken that leadership role pretty seriously for the Irish. He's helped Notre Dame amass 210 yards rushing here in the first half.
Zeller used to be a wide receiver, though, in street ball.
And a tailback in high school. Timeout, second timeout of the game in the first half, taken by the Purdue defense after they didn't like their alignment. Gives Ron Paulus a chance to confer with Lou Holtz on the sideline, and 2.5 minutes left in the opening half here at Notre Dame. Well, tomorrow we'll turn our attention to professional football. Our NFL coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL Live. And most of you will see Dan Marino and the undefeated Dolphins take on the Vikings with Warren Moon now at quarterback. Others will see Cleveland take on Indianapolis. Then game 2 of the doubleheader. AFC West clash. The surprising unbeaten San Diego Chargers host the disappointing so far Los Angeles Raiders. Others will see the NFL's leading passer, young Drew Bledsoe, and the Patriots meet Barry Sanders and the Lions. And what a game Sanders had against the Cowboys on Monday night. Some nice games coming up tomorrow, including that 6 o'clock Eastern Time start for the Steelers and the Seahawks, because Husky Stadium, the temporary home of the Seahawks, wouldn't be ready until that hour.
Well, that Miami-Minnesota game just should be a tremendous contest. Up front, the Minnesota Vikings, John Randall, Henry Thomas, 2 outstanding defensive tackles. Just have to wonder if they can finally put some pressure on Dan Marino. He's been protected so well so far this season.
And Warren Moon sputtering a bit in his first game as a Viking, then has come on, and Terry Allen back after an injury all last season. That should be a great one. One of the games of our doubleheader tomorrow, Miami and Minnesota.
We have a very important 2 minutes and 31 seconds here for the Fighting Irish. They do not want to go in at halftime with Purdue having the momentum.
Nice cut back by Zellers, and then lowers his shoulder and gets another couple of yards to the 20-yard line. Notre Dame first down.
One of the great surprises so far for this Fighting Irish offense has been the play of left guard Dusty Ziegler. He started the first game of '93, then lost his job to Mark Zadoveski. The number 77 has just been overpowering at the point of attack, taking out 2 guys to open things up for Ray Zellers.
This Notre Dame rushing attack without 2 of its mainstays today, and still potent. Ryan Leahy, the starting right tackle, is missing, and Lee Becton, the leading rusher from tailback, not able to play by injury. Kinder had a burst of speed initially, and then tackled after a 4-yard gain by Aaron Hall.
Aaron Hall was a young man who everyone wanted to play fullback. Turned down visits to Stanford and Nebraska and Wisconsin because he wanted to play defense. That time got a shot in on Randy Kinder.
Edwards and Mosley in the backfield now on 2nd down. Option. Paulus cuts up, and he's dropped in his tracks by Bart Conley.
You don't suppose Bart Conley enjoyed that little backside. Look at little smile on his face. Anytime you get a chance to hit a phenom like Ron Paulus, you just enjoy it a little bit more. I'm not sure that Ron Paulus ever saw him. He danced with a little glee in his step as he ran off the field that time.
Conley, the defensive MVP for Cincinnati LaSalle High School. His dad was a Purdue linebacker.
Huge playing the ball game right now for the Irish.
Paulus in trouble, got away. Unloads it, complete to Mays. Great scrambling play by Ron Paulus to find Derek Mays. 1st and goal, Notre Dame.
Oscar McBride, the tight end for the Irish, says they call him the Messiah. Ron Paulus made a play out of absolutely nothing. Aaron Hall closing in on him, was able to find Derek Mays coming all the way across the field. This is the job of the wide receiver. Once the scramble starts, you have to go get in front of the face of your quarterback, perfectly thrown. You saw some of the bandages coming off of Ron Paulus's arm. We saw him yesterday, and he did have a big turf burn, but nothing wrong with the elbow. Very difficult off-balance throw.
Coming up at halftime, the Prudential halftime report. Hannah Storm and Ahmad Rashad give you all the scores from this weekend in college football. And a look at Derek Mays and Michael Miller, the 2 talented wide receivers for the Irish. Very much on display in this game today. That clutch reception by Mays from Paulus, giving the Irish this 1st and goal with 46 seconds left in the half. They'll be coming along shortly with the Prudential halftime report. Ron Paulus now 7 of 10 for the day, hitting at a 70% clip for 89 yards and a touchdown.
Bob Morris's defense now has to make another play. They've been so stout so far inside the 10-yard line, but you just simply, after your team has gone down and scored the touchdown, given your team a lift, cannot allow the Irish in the end zone here.
A masterful drive, the 11th play coming up. They've converted 2 3rd and 5 situations and have it 1st and goal at the Purdue 7. Mosley to the outside. To the 3-yard line. He stayed in bounds. Batten on the tackle.
Irish with 2 timeouts, so the clock really not a problem. Don't want to leave any time on the clock for Purdue to come back. But remember, Ron Paulus, a young quarterback, not in these situations a lot. We'll see how he handles it.
Kinder, Zellers with a block. Touchdown.
The play of the game so far, Ron Paulus' scramble and throw to Derek Mays on 3rd and 5. It's like the Irish may be going for 2 to try and make this a 21-7 game.
And they've called a timeout to talk it over.
Oscar McBride, just total domination of his man on the outside, Darnell Howard. This entire game, the Irish they've been able to get the corner blocks. Anytime you can pin the outside guy in, just makes it so easy when you have the kind of speed that Notre Dame does at the running back position. Ray Zellers didn't even have to block anybody.
He didn't. He cut up. It was McBride that made the key block. Oscar McBride, who just before the Michigan game saw his Mother Mary's house in Chiefland, Florida, destroyed by fire. Arson suspected. He was devastated by that. He is so close to his mother. She was only 18 when Oscar was born, and in his words, they grew up together. And he had all they could do to hold back tears at the Irish pep rally when the players had taken up a contribution, called his Mother Mary up, and gave her a photograph of her son that had been destroyed in the fire. Irish go for 2. Pitches, it's on the ground. This can be returned in college football, but it will be recovered by Birchfield, and the 2-point conversion goes awry for Paulus and the Irish. One thing we can say, we don't have to ask Tony Rice to move over for Ron Paulus.
I was wondering how long it was going to take you to get around to that.
An option quarterback is not his best thing. But they did go 75 plays under the direction of Paulus after Purdue had scored. They returned the favor, covering 5 minutes and 4 seconds, 11 plays with Kinder, who already is well over 100 yards rushing, with the clinching 3-yard TD run.
Yeah, the SS Collinsworth took on a little water last week when I said move over Joe Montana after Ron Paulus threw the apparently winning touchdown pass against Michigan. And then I could always count on you as my ship was listing a little bit to the left to walk up and hand me an anchor and make sure that I go under fully.
Put the finishing touches on a little torpedo here and there. Well, what about Rick Trefsker of Purdue and that scoring drive he managed the last time they had the ball? Move over Len Dawson, huh?
My boy.
Rain pelting Notre Dame Stadium. It held off for a quarter or so. We had a little mist, and then it began coming down seriously. And from the looks of the sky, it could continue for a while. Here's the kickoff. And a pretty good return with time running out in the first half by Terry Samuel at his own 43-yard line. 4 seconds showing.
Well, one shot down the field. Remember, the half cannot end on a defensive penalty, so the big concern now for Bob Davies' defense, just simply don't touch anybody. Let them make the catch and then hit them and go in at the half with a 19-7 lead.
And Purdue, conceding that halftime score, will run it to bring the first half to an end. Rogers on the carry. Let's go on the field. John Dockery. Doc.
Thank you, Tom. Coach, what would you say about the first half?
Well, we're real sluggish in offense, and we're just not playing good on the perimeter on defense at all. They're killing us outside, and we're missing too many tackles. We blow a couple of coverages, but I mean, we would have been in the game and we make some plays. So we just got to do a better job in the second half and do a little better job of moving the ball. Our defense can't play all this.
You seem to find something at the end of the second quarter, though. You opening up, throwing the ball more?
Yeah, we got the ball out in the side. We're fooling around too much in the middle and not getting out the ball out on the side and stretching them a little bit. They're too big and strong for us to sit there and run inside every down.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
All right, Doc, despite Notre Dame's dominance, the Irish lead only 12 at halftime. It's Notre Dame 19 and Purdue 7. 19-7 at halftime. Let's go to John Dockery with Coach Lou Holt.
Thank you, Tom Hammond. Coach, we're live at halftime. What about the first half, the good and the bad from your perspective?
Well, I thought we played well in the first half, except we let them have that one drive. We haven't played well on the goal line. When we've had opportunity to score, we haven't taken advantage of it.
What about the second half? They're talking about heavy rains. How does that change things in the second half?
I can't control that. We just got to see what the situation is and play it from there.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
All right, well, Coach Holtz can't control the rain. Some thought he was possibly he could do that, but thunderstorm right now. In fact, we've had a couple of bolts of lightning here in the last few minutes. Purdue hoping to catch some of that lightning, and they did finally score against Notre Dame, but the rushing game of the Irish, led by Randy Kinder, very impressive.
Well, Randy Kinder has been incredible so far as the Irish now take the field, but 122 yards in the first half alone. You add that to this second half last week after Lee Becton got hurt. He's had 224 yards rushing in the last couple of games. So, I mean, this is a guy that has just simply been incredible. You would have thought they would have missed Lee Becton much more than they do.
Key play of the half, though, may have been after Purdue had scored and threatened to capture the momentum. Ron Paulus on a scramble to complete a pass led to the Notre Dame touchdown.
Tom, it was 3rd and 5 and only a 6-point ball game at this time. Aaron Hall putting big-time pressure, and Paulus just got it out of there to Derek Mays, led to their final touchdown and a comfortable lead.
So the Irish are up 19-7 as we get ready for the third quarter. And let's take a look at our halftime stats. As you see the rain coming down in force now.
The stats are going to tell a one-sided story, and that's really been what this football game is. What's happened in the first half. 318 yards, total offense to just 80. Purdue's done a good job hanging on to the football, but their defense has just been on the field too much.
And look at the time of possession, 20 minutes for Notre Dame. But the scoreboard shows a 19-7 contest. Purdue has held a couple of times when Notre Dame threatened. Irish missed a field goal. Their lead is still reachable for Jim Coletto and his underdog Boilermakers, about 21-point underdogs coming into the game. Quarterback figures, Paulus has hit 7 of 10 for 89 yards and a touchdown. And his Purdue counterpart, Rick Pester, has 4 of 7 for 37 yards. Pretty good thunderstorm right now.
Boy, there is, and there's some lightning in and around. I played in a game at Georgia Tech one time in which they actually stopped and sent the teams back into the locker room.
Senja with the second half kickoff. Here's the return by Allen. And he is to about the 25-yard line with a flag fly.
18 yards, total offense to just 80. Purdue's done a good job hanging on to the football, but their defense has just been on the field too much.
And look at the time of possession, 20 minutes for Notre Dame. But the scoreboard shows a 19-7 contest. Purdue has held a couple of times when Notre Dame threatened. Irish missed a field goal. Their lead is still reachable for Jim Coletto and his underdog Boilermakers, about 21-point underdogs coming into the game. Quarterback figures, Paulus has hit 7 of 10 for 89 yards and a touchdown. And his Purdue counterpart, Rick Trefsker, is 4 of 7 for 37 yards. Pretty good thunderstorm right now.
Boy, there is, and there's some lightning in and around. I played in a game at Georgia Tech one time in which they actually stopped and sent the teams back into the locker room.
Senja with the second half kickoff. Here's the return by Allen. And he is to about the 25-yard line with a flag flying in late. Could have been a hit out of bounds by Notre Dame.
And Tom, at least 4 people on that kickoff slipped and fell down. This is going to be a very messy field now.
Personal foul, Notre Dame.
If anybody slips at the end of the play, this looks like there were a few people a little overly aggressive. That's no question a good call by the officials.
Well, Purdue's only good drive of the game came after they had good field position on that possession in the second quarter. And this time they'll start in good position about their own 43.
And that was not flash photography you just saw. The lightning bolts are becoming a little too regular for me.
First down carry by Rogers. Sliding forward for a gain of 4.
It's interesting, Bob Davie, the defensive coordinator, said about Corey Rogers that he was actually a better blocker than fullback Mike Allstott, who's supposed to be the best fullback in the country. So a pretty complete football player in Corey Rogers.
Well, it's been almost automatic in recent years when Purdue and Notre Dame play. You can count on rain. And it's heavy rain at the moment. Play action pass. Trefsker, the lefty, fires across the field and completes it to Craig Allen. And Allen has a Purdue first down at the 41 of Notre Dame, where he's hit by Brian McGee. Easy completion for 13 yards.
You know, Tom, I'm not so sure that Notre Dame's defense didn't forget that Trefsker was a left-hander. It looked like they were just sort of comfortably standing, waiting for him to turn his shoulders and then breaking on the football, and he just raised up and flipped it with the left hand. Good job looking back behind him to find Craig Allen.
Purdue has finally found its offense after going most of the first half without even a first down. They are still ready for the run. A fumbled football, and Purdue recovers it as Trefsker got back on Allstott's fumble.
And Purdue now trying to run a lot of action with their offensive line, pulling guards in and around. And I'm not so sure that style of running is going to work here. Ball popping free, and when that leather gets wet, it gets slippery indeed.
It was Rogers that fumbled, and Trefsker was the man to pounce on it for the Boilermakers, but it goes as a loss of 3. Play action. Sack. Paul Grasmanis all over Rick Trefsker.
Lou Holt says that Paul Grasmanis rapidly becoming one of their better players on the defensive line. But again, Trefsker has to get rid of the football. Fine protection. Nothing wrong with the protection. His receiver slipped down, Craig Allen, and he simply has to throw that football away. It's wet.
And Grasmanis now with 2.5 sacks on the season, the junior from Jenison, Michigan.
Little shotgun now for Purdue.
And 3 wide receivers. Pass is complete to Terry Samuel. Short of the first down at the Irish 46. Bobby Taylor, the fine defensive back of the Irish, up quickly to make the hit. And Purdue will punt.
Lou Holtz wanting a timeout. He didn't get his punt return team on the field.
So the Irish are forced to spend a timeout here early in the second half. Purdue set for its 5th punt of the day when we return to Notre Dame Stadium. As it is duty pay for the NBC crew today, and the rain's not the problem. The lightning bolts flying all around here, and our men up above the level of the stadium.
There's the job I want in a thunderstorm. Holy cow.
Mike Miller awaiting the punt by Degnan. Sailing high punt. Miller fakes the fair catch call, and Purdue unable to down it because the coverage man slipped on his backside.
Little Keystone Cops. Leave Brush. Thought he was in position and did the hook slide into third base.
I need some of that music. Well, producer David Michaels and director Larry Cavallina safe and dry in the truck, and giving the ball to Notre Dame now, and the Irish have scored the last 4 times they've had the football.
Could be worse. He could be working the camera.
First down run by Randy Kinder, who has been all but unstoppable today. Johnson on the tackle. As you see, 11.5 minutes left, third quarter.
Notre Dame's really had some long drives. Their last few possessions have struggled once they've gotten down in the red zone. Only 2 touchdowns out of 5 trips, essentially, inside the 10-yard line.
Ron Paulus has had a good day throwing, though he hasn't put it up much. Zellers trying to get his footing going. Bart Connolly got there in time to make sure that Zellers never got ahead of steam.
You know, Lou Holtz said about Ray Zellers that he never physically abused a player or touched one in his life, but if he was ever going to, it would have been Ray Zellers. But when this guy came in here as a freshman and a sophomore, it didn't matter what I said, what I did to this young man. I simply could not get through to him. And asked Ray about that, and he said the coaches only told me if he stops yelling, that's when you need to be concerned.
As long as he's yelling, you know he cares.
That's right.
3rd and 1. Good defensive play by the center of the Purdue defense. Bart Connolly leading the charge to stop Zellers. It'll be close to the first down and perhaps short. It'll be 4th and about 1 for the Irish.
And you hear a lot of the players whooping and hollering, and football players at this level, even just grown-up kids, are having a little fun playing and sliding around in the rain, and Purdue's defense did their job. Sent Paulus to the sideline.
You always had a built-in excuse in this kind of field, right?
Oh, yeah, just have a little fun.
Brian Ford to punt for the Irish, his 2nd of the day. First one went 48 yards. Shanked that one. Does take an Irish bounce of about 10 yards and is out of bounds at the Purdue 45. We'll take a timeout as Paulus confers with the coaches upstairs. That punt only covered 27 yards. Leprechaun and the Irish continue to hammer Purdue as the Boilermakers take over at their own 45-yard line. First down pass, Tresker lays it in, and it's picked off by Notre Dame. In and out of the hands of Bert Thornton, and picked off by the Irish. Jeremy Sample is the man that came down with the football, number 36.
Tresker just floated this one into his own defense. Bobby Taylor getting a hand on it, then a tremendous interception by Jeremy Sample, who Holt says he played his best game by far as a member of the Fighting Irish last week against Michigan State. The athletic play in the wet and the rain and the cold.
And despite the rain, the first turnover. Paulus with plenty of time throws it almost straight up in the air, a pop-up that will go incomplete, and that had to slip. At least I hope for his sake and yours that it slipped.
That one slipped, no question about that one. I was going to say move over Mike Miller as he tried to catch that one.
Tresker, meanwhile, is trying to get his offense straightened out, and he floated one, his pass that was intercepted.
Tough to grab that football right now. You can almost forget about the long passes, and actually that throw might help Purdue's defense now. They can sort of play a little shorter, not have to worry so much about the long.
Almost a collision in the backfield, and then suddenly Kinder bursts free. Randy Kinder with about a 12-yard run. Jamie Washell on the tackle for Purdue. But Kinder having his biggest day. He began with 2 great quarters against Michigan State in his hometown last week and has been nearly unstoppable in this game. 140 yards, a career high.
He's already run further than my first car.
Which you bought yourself, I hope.
Yeah.
Zellers. Ray Zellers bouncing off tacklers with a stiff arm out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Zellers and Hagans went face mask to face mask, and Hagans finally got him out of bounds.
I don't think that Ray Zellers was enjoying all the talk about Mike Alstott being the best fullback in the country. The big guy. And the best thing about him, Tom, is his balance. People just simply do not bring him down. They'll get the arm tackle or a shoulder on him and throw him off balance, but he seems to find a way to realign himself and keep going down the field.
36 yards on that run. He's gained 88 for the game. Kinder breaking off the Zellers block to the 7-yard line.
Lee Becton's a great back for the Fighting Irish, but boy, they sure don't lose anything with Randy Kinder in the ballgame.
Well, we said to Zellers yesterday it was a day for fullbacks. Thinking of Alstott, who's been named the best in the nation. But Zellers has been the man today with, of course, help from that Irish front 7.
Don't forget what Jerome Bettis is now doing in the National Football League, the former fullback of the Fighting Irish.
In fact, Zellers was his backup early in his career, and Jerome always counseled him to be patient. Mosley. Decked at the 6-yard line by Reggie Johnson and others.
Well, the redshirt freshman, Reggie Johnson, came up and put a serious lick on Emmett Mosley. Emmett Mosley going back to the huddle, remembering now why he played wide receiver.
Zellers is back in for the Irish, replacing Edwards. 3rd and goal. Paulus threw it away.
It's a big call. If Purdue is held, they're still very much in this ball game.
See the Boilers saying decline, so it must be against Notre Dame. It is offensive interference against the Irish. That'll bring up 4th down.
Pass interference on the offense. Declined. 4th down.
Between the struggling kickers in this rain, field goal, nothing automatic at this point either.
That plant foot has got to be a little precarious on a greasy field with Schroffner the man that will attempt it. 22-yard attempt for Schroffner. Hit a 27-yard field goal earlier, missed one from 21. And this one good. Notre Dame strikes first in the 3rd quarter, 7:23 left, 22-7 Irish. While we were away, a fresh bandage applied to the artificial turf abrasion on the right arm of Ron Paulus as the Irish convert the Purdue turnover into a field goal. Paulus on the days hit 7 of 12. Senju with a kickoff. Taken by is tripped up at the 25-yard line. Ball ruled down, no fumble.
Tom, that's going to be a tough call on Purdue. One of their men slipped and cut a Notre Dame player. You're not allowed to block below the waist on a kickoff, but he clearly slipped down on the play. It's not going to matter. They're going to take Purdue back. I believe it was Mike Anderson, a backup fullback. Went down there, really was not trying to cut block anyone. It just slipped, and the Notre Dame player fell over the top.
Coleto's Boilermakers already have doubled.
The waist on the receiving team during the run. The distance to the goal. Still first down.
There's the call. Coleto's Boilermakers already have doubled their victories of a year ago, and have finally broken through with a score against Notre Dame, and really aren't out of it here. 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions away from the lead, although they've shown no ability to strike quickly so far in the game. 7:15 left in the third quarter.
But when you play on a field like this, it just takes one defensive back to slip, and you have a football game again.
Allstott fumbles the football, and Notre Dame has it.
This is fullback weather, and fullbacks have to hang on to the football, as he's been all day, just smothered by this Fighting Irish front seven. You just have to wonder how much longer Purdue can hold on now. Raspanis making the initial hit.
Brian Hamilton there too, and then Travis Davis scrambling to recover the football. So Allstott, billed as the nation's top fullback, turns it over deep in his own territory, and the Irish now first down at the 16 of the Boilermakers. Zellers to the 10.
When you watch Notre Dame play against the Michigan or one of the other truly top teams in the NCAA, you forget how big a gap there is physically between teams like the Irish and Michigan and Florida State and some of those teams in the next level down. Purdue's a Big Ten team and a competitive team in the Big Ten, but well, this has just been an overwhelming display by the guys up front for Notre Dame.
Kinder dropped behind the line for a loss by Washell. Look at that, Kinder leading the way, but Zeller's closing in on 100 yards, and Mosley and Farmer getting in on the act as well. Already 2 of the Irish backs have reached career highs.
Probably the story, though, the fact that Purdue has not been able to run the football. They came in here averaging 357 yards per game on the ground.
Option. Paulus high-stepping his way and didn't reach the line of scrimmage before Conley collapsed him. Loss of a yard to the 15.
So once again, the Irish struggle inside the red zone. And Bart Conley, who's been named the most valuable player the last 2 times that they've played against the Irish, coming up and making the play again.
He had 16 tackles against Notre Dame in '92, 11 last year.
And Mike Allstott with a bit of a reprieve.
Schroffner to attempt a 32-yard field goal. And it barely makes it through.
Looks like one of your 2 irons.
Schroffner strikes again. Another Purdue turnover, another Notre Dame field goal. 25-7. This has got to be one of Jim's favorite things, isn't it? Standing in the rain, being pounded by Notre Dame, facing that bus ride home.
And the truth is that not one of his guys was even recruited by Notre Dame.
Sin just slips as he kicks it, but got a pretty good kick. Taken by Samuel. Samuel taken down at the 37-yard line, where Purdue will take over. They've turned it over the last 2 times they've had the football. I gave this about a 7.5.
The reverse 1.5 from the tuck position. Well, that's the closest we're going to get to baseball this time of year. Little hook slide.
Rogers. Met by Jeremy Sample and others.
Tom, you just wouldn't believe the difference in watching this game and watching Purdue run the football in their first 2 games of the season against Toledo and Ball State. I was enjoying it. Bobby Turner said his offense was hitting on all cylinders. He had no concerns whatsoever coming into this game. But sometimes there's just not much you can do when you just can't match up man to man.
Colorado 14, Michigan 3.
Loss of a yard on that first down play. Tresko's pass in and out of the arms of his intended receiver, Craig Allen.
There's one guy that's been doing a tremendous job up front for Purdue, and that's Ryan Grigson, big left tackle. He has had his man all day long. Number 79. Suffered through such a serious injury. I'm not even sure Ryan's in there right now. This is an offensive line that's really been solid in pass protection, just haven't been able to get anything going in the running game.
Alfie Hill is the left tackle at the moment. Tresko rolling to his right and completing the pass to Thornton. Bert Thornton with a catch for 15 yards. Tough throw for Tresko to make. He pulled it off.
For a left-handed quarterback to come right and make that sort of an off-balance throw. Showed a lot more accuracy in this game than he has in the first couple. Those shoulders turned and wings look pretty good.
First third down conversion of the day for the Boilermakers. Rick Tresko made the play. You know, he played only 3 games as a senior at Lake Catholic High School in Wickliffe, Ohio. Had an ACL injury. A lot of teams backed off him, but Purdue stuck with him. He's been an All-American Tresko as a junior. There he is again. Wings it complete, this time to Allen. Fumbled the football. There's also a penalty marker down. Purdue fumbling it back to Notre Dame. Alton Maiden made the fumble recovery, but we must check the penalty flag. So the recovery will stand. So the last 3 possessions, Purdue has turned the ball over.
In order for Purdue to win this game, they had to play a perfect football game. No turnovers in the first half, but now in the second half, all kinds of problems.
Bobby Taylor knocked it away from Allen. And the Notre Dame recovery by Maiden.
Bobby Taylor's a guy probably prefers to play safety, but when Bob Davies showed up as the defensive coordinator, he asked him, who should I cover with the best receiver on the other team? And Bobby said, I guess that'd be me. He said, okay, you're a corner.
Ray Zeller good blocking. Pounds over a man. Hurdles another. He's still on his feet. Zellers to the 5 and the touchdown. What a run. To push cars, he ought to try Zellers.
Zellers saying, now, tell me again who's the best fullback in the country? Even brings a smile to Lou Holtz's face.
62 yards, and he made a pancake out of one man. Schroffner's extra point is good. That one will make a lot of highlight films.
Reggie Johnson, the strong safety, the redshirt freshman, still not sure
balance.
There's the balance we talked about earlier. You think any NFL scouts paid attention to that one? A little Jerome Bettis-ish. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. The guy that Lou Holtz could not control, neither can Purdue.
Zeller's now 157 yards rushing, the second Irish runner over 100 yards. Notre Dame now has rushed against the third-rated rushing team in the nation for 357 yards. Passed off one vicious hit and got another 10 yards. Nice play by Allen.
Maybe the Reggie Brooks run that we saw a couple of years compares to it, but I'm still shaking my head over that one. I've never seen someone just completely flatten another player and then still find enough room to maintain his balance, break another tackle, and then outrun the defensive secondary into the end zone.
Has to be one of the best runs of the year in college football. Ray Zellers. He ran the Reggie Brooks run you're talking about against Michigan when he was knocked out as he crossed the goal line in '92. Allstott tries to answer. Slips and falls after a gain of a couple.
Nebraska doing okay today.
Look at that. Colorado in Ann Arbor up 14-9 on Michigan.
Tim Biakabatuka with the last touchdown, though, to get Michigan a little closer. A pretty impressive day here against the Irish.
Tyrone Wheatley returning today, but as we noted, he may be the best running back in the country, but it'll take something to best Biakabatuka.
Almost bouncing back after that incredible LSU game.
The counter play goes nowhere.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a game quite like that Auburn LSU game. 4 touchdowns returned on interceptions.
And down in Bayou land, Curly Hallman feeling the wrath of the fans for continuing to pass when he had at one time, what, a 17-point lead or something? Auburn winning streak still intact. Longest in college football.
You very seldom see Lou Holtz comfortable, but he's getting almost to that point now.
Despite the rain. From the gun. Tresker releases. Short gain complete to Thornton, is wrestled down by Davis for a 5-yard gain.
Pass is complete to Purdue.
Purdue will have to punt again.
Lou Holtz showing a very human side that you rarely see from him when he's talking about his son Skip, who's now coaching at Connecticut.
Almost called timeout to get the proper team on the field, but Purdue, with a little bit of a delay in their decision, enabled him to get his punt return team out there.
You come here! You come here! You come here!
They do take a timeout, and you could hear Coach Holt saying, "You come here."
I think he wanted to just leave his defense on the field, not wanting to take any chances on a fake. Lou said, one thing about me is you'll never hear me yelling at one of my players when the game's still on the line. I guess the game's no longer on the line.
Interesting, too. He's known as such a hard-nosed coach, but he was telling us actually 2 weeks ago that he determined in spring practice with Ron Paulus that yelling at him would not get anything done. Paulus was so conscientious, such a perfectionist, that just tell him what he had to do and he would do it, but yelling at him would be counterproductive.
Now smiling and making jokes with Ron Paulus, getting in one other coaching point.
And the whole team loves it because in practice he'll say, "Rick, Rick," and the coach will say, "I'm Ron, coach." He said, "No, no, you're Rick. I can't remember Ron."
But the one comment that he made to him was, "Who gave you a scholarship? Why are you on scholarship after a bad throw?" And Paulus put his head down and said his production went so far down, I'm not going to yell at him anymore. There's a kid that cares. He works hard at what he does, and his productivity goes down if I jump on him, so I'll let him be. Now, Ray Zellers is another story.
Degnan to punt. way through the rain and mist. Michael Miller with a fair catch call at the 23-yard line. Well, the Irish ground game has been very impressive today, led by Coach Lou Holtz. Holtz has paced the sideline for over 1,400 yards.
39 grass picks to go along with that. Now, I want to know who sat and counted 1,428 yards paced.
Our payroll here at NBC is limitless. Hired a man just for that.
Don't say I know where the first cuts may come.
Well, the Irish trying to add to that 357-yard rushing total. We're still a quarter to go. That carry by Mark Edwards. Let's go down to the field and John Dockery.
And Tom, you might be wondering where Lou got that grass-chewing, grass-picking habit. Well, it was when he was a youngster playing right field. You know, not many balls went out there, not much action. So he'd reach down, pick up the grass, chew it a little bit, throw it back down. Only problem is when he plays on artificial turf fields.
There he is, right on cue with another grass pick. Yeah, he was picking in vain on the AstroTurf surface at Michigan State last week. Nice run by Mosley. He nearly broke free. Where are you, John Dockery? Are you keeping dry down there?
I'm somewhere under an umbrella way down here on the 20-yard line.
He's talking from the airport.
That's right. I'm actually in the limo on the way to the airport. Oh, I forgot about that. There are no more limos in sports television. Oh, yeah. Here I am. Turn stage back.
Mr. Stats Elliott Cal does inform us that Lou's longest pace today was 48 yards. O'Keefer on the tackle for Purdue after a short gain on the play.
Everybody's into the rushing act for Notre Dame, huh? I mean, Lou Holtz is rushing as well as Zellers. You know, an interesting thing around the rushing game is I talked to Lee Becton about his injury and the doctors, and they said, you know, he ran during the week in practice. He actually jogged a mile. It was incredible. And Becton said even though he popped that groin muscle pretty well, he might be back sooner than expected, maybe in a couple of weeks.
Man has his own private umbrella holder. That's the end of the third quarter. Notre Dame has taken control. They're up 32-7. We'll be back to rain-soaked South Bend after these messages from your local station. Start the fourth quarter with Notre Dame up 32-7. Irish have the ball with a 2nd and 5 at their own 42. Ron Paulus still at quarterback. Robert Farmer on the carry for Notre Dame. Jackson finally made the stop for the Boilermakers.
Ironically, there are a lot of people that think Robert Farmer may be the best athlete among all these tailbacks. Randy Kinder has had such a sensational game. Lee Becton, the starter. Robert Farmer, you saw some of the athletic ability that he has maintaining his balance on that one.
And after Kinder's performance today, I imagine the healing process for Lee Becton has been accelerated. Mosley. And he finds room to the outside. It's been there all day. Out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Derek Brown came up to force him over the boundary. Gain of 16. NFL football coming your way tomorrow. It's doubleheader week here on NBC. Some really outstanding games to come your way, highlighted by the NFL Live crew at 12:30 p.m. to get things started. And then doubleheader action. Some of you will see Warren Moon and the Minnesota Vikings meet Dan Marino and the unbeaten Miami Dolphins. Barry Sanders will be highlighted in one of the second games as the Lions take the field, fresh from that Monday night upset of the Cowboys. Mark Edwards to the 30-yard line. And Ryan Phipps made the tackle, the senior from Boca Raton, Florida, who is the son of Mike Phipps, the former Purdue and NFL quarterback.
It's been a soggy day, but a day for running the football. And Notre Dame's rushing attack has just been incredible. Overpowering.
Solman is knocked out of bounds. Scott Solman, the freshman or sophomore from Cincinnati, knocked out of bounds on the reverse by Derek Brown, but there was an early flag.
It looked like Mark Edwards was holding up his hands like, who, me? The push in the back is what they're going to call against Mark Edwards, number 44, the fullback. Solman, the baseball player. They weren't going to let him play football.
Push in the back on the offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
Solman is the center fielder on the Notre Dame baseball team. In fact, hit .402, but is on baseball scholarship, so had to play a season of baseball before he could come out for football. But his football credentials are solid, too. He was the top running back in Ohio as a senior.
Tom, he played in Cincinnati, and on the news every Friday night you saw a new and spectacular play by Scott Solman. He was unbelievable, the amount of 70 and 80-yard plays that he made in high school.
Led St. X to the state championship. Swing pass to Mosley with blockers in front on the screen. Caught from behind and downed inside the 35 of the Boilermakers by John Jackson.
Boy, Jeremy Akers, the big right tackle for Notre Dame, made just a sensational block. Really showed some quick feet, being able to turn the corner. Maybe even injured himself trying to turn back and make that block to give his receiver the corner.
Of course, Ryan Leahy not in the offensive line, the grandson of the great Frank Leahy, coach at Notre Dame. They just released a book, Leahy's Lads. Frank Leahy, as a player for Newt Rockne, was holed up in the hospital with him and absorbed some of that knowledge and decided to be a coach. Swing pass is complete. Edwards breaking tackles, close to the first down.
We talked earlier about one of the human sides of Lou Holtz. Look, we've got 4th down, and Ron Paulus wanting to take his shot to stick this thing in. This will be an interesting decision. Lou Holtz got a little criticism at the end of the Purdue game last year for running up the score at the end, and claims he had nothing to do with it. It was the players that took over the situation. And an editorial comment to boot.
So the Irish go for it on 4th and less than a yard. And they have the first down. Farmer on the carry. O'Keefer of the tackle of Farmer as Holtz sends the play in with Derek Mays. Arizona putting it on Stanford, the next opponent for the Irish.
Wow. The numbers keep adding up for Notre Dame.
And more. Farmer breaks to the outside. Steps over one man to the 1-yard line. Robert Farmer, the sophomore from Bolingbrook, Illinois. Maciag saved the touchdown, and the Irish rushing total climbs to 427 yards.
Remember, this is the 3rd team tailback. Take a look at this run. Just going to step over one defender, throw his body into the corner of the end zone, very close to actually scoring the touchdown.
Former Illinois high school player of the year.
Boy, do they have some backs and skill position players on this team.
Here's the full house look. Sellers stops short. There's a flag in the end zone. Washell made sure he didn't score. I'd like to see him mark half the distance here. Purdue's
defense was so tough in that first half down in these goal line situations, but As is so often the case when Notre Dame gets that running game going, they really wear a team down by the fourth quarter.
Illegal participation, 12 men on the field on defense, half the distance from the previous spot.
Still first down.
Maybe they should try 13.
Look how close that football is to the goal line now. Full house again. And finally the touchdown. They had to unstack them, and the Purdue players were saying no, they didn't get in. But Kinder got in for the score.
Down and dirty in the mud and the rain and the dirt. Randy Kinder sneaking the ball across. Remember, it's the ball, not the helmet, that has to get across. Looked like it broke the plane.
Barely.
Yep. If there's been drama today, though, it's been on the extra point.
Schroffner, the kicker, he missed a field goal early, was benched for Sinja. Sinja promptly missed an extra point, and Schroffner returned. Holtz got his attention. He hasn't missed since the benching. The route is on. It takes dedication to keep cheering when you're cold and wet and behind 39-7. That's the case here at Notre Dame Stadium. Tom Hammond, Chris Collinsworth, John Dockery, where the Irish have taken control after leading by 12 at halftime. Sinja's kickoff to Allen. Ball's loose. No, they say down now. No fumble. No fumble. And the Boilermakers will retain possession. So Notre Dame, after racking up win number 3 today, they'll go 3-1 and host Stanford in their next home game, October 1st. You can see that here on NBC. Then they'll try to avenge last year's national championship costing defeat to Boston College when they go to BC. Then BYU, Navy, Florida State in Tallahassee, Air Force, and USC. Still hopes of a national championship for the Irish, but they'll need some help. Corey Rogers breaks a tackle and gets to the corner. Best run of the day for the Boilermakers. Rogers pounded out of bounds and then slips down hard. So did the official. Look.
Oh, boy.
Ray Zellers wasn't over there anywhere, was he?
Lost his hat a whole bit. Now he's got to play with the wet uni for the rest of the day. Corey Rogers with a nice run. And the official trying to hustle, trying to make the right play, really trying to get out of the way. He's in now. You don't suppose anybody said anything to him over there, do you? Even the ball boy giving him a little razzing. Come on back out.
By the way, David Michaels reminds me that the game Notre Dame at Florida State is not in Tallahassee, but actually in Orlando. And it will be a big one.
And there's some Seminole fans lying in wait for that one.
Allstott has had a tough day.
Not much better than what happened to him last year against the Fighting Irish on a very similar day. Wet and rainy and nasty, and he managed to pick up 15 yards in that one last year as well.
There'll be a lot of NFL teams interested in him, though.
Good blocker, good solid, sort of a throwback. Lou Holtz said he's a guy should be wearing a leather helmet. One of those old style players.
Allstott rifles it complete for a first down. Catch made by Samuel.
Pretty nice looking catch. Yeah, he liked it. When you're quarterback at Purdue, you don't get to throw it a whole lot. So even when you're behind, if you get a chance to drop back and wing one in there, working against an All-American and Bobby Taylor. Samuel made a nice catch on the ball.
I said Allstott. Trefsker, obviously, the quarterback. Rick Tresker, the left-hander, who chose you to start the game when he was a youngster, picked up a clump of sod here from Notre Dame, took it home with him. Got the start today. Handoff to Allstott, his best run of the afternoon, about 11 yards.
You're getting at least a glimpse of the third leading rushing team in the country. Boy, they were so impressive. I watched some videotape on them just before the ball game and just ripping off big chunks. Allstott, Corey Rogers, and Ed Watson. They were dominating teams. Unfortunately, it was Toledo and Ball State. Certainly not the caliber of the Fighting Irish.
Tough game for Purdue next week as they travel to Champaign to play Illinois. Rogers bounces to the outside. Made a nice move to get the first down. Bobby Taylor finally stopped him. 13-yard gain. He put a pretty good move on Brian McGee.
Corey Rogers, a great comeback story. He was voted Freshman of the Year in the Big Ten. His first go around had a knee injury, had some academic problems, and really never got back to form. And Bobby Turner, the running back coach and offensive coordinator, sat down with him and simply told him, he said, Corey, you're better than this. You're a better person than this. You need to get it back, and that's exactly what he's done. He's been outstanding in the first 2 games this year.
Rogers a pretty good mutter, too, from the looks of things. Allstott, nice change of direction. Pulled away from a shoestring tackle and reached the 10-yard line.
Allstott grew up idolizing Larry Zonka and John Riggins. Ban hasn't left.
Allstott was Chicago Sun-Times Player of the Year, a prep All-American at Joliet Catholic High School that won the 4A state championship in Illinois. In fact, he led the state in rushing in his senior season. 2,100 yards, 26 touchdowns. Rogers slipped right at the goal line and then paid for it. But he slipped down, to be honest, and then took the hit from LaRon Moore.
That's one of those where LaRon Moore looks like he's big and bad and sort of strutted around a little bit out there. But Roy Rogers did a little whoop. Now watch this. Yeah, kick him one time in the head.
First and goal from the 1 for Purdue. Full house backfield. Rogers met at the goal line. Did he fall across? They signaled touchdown. Yes, touchdown. Nice run by Rogers, who broke the plane of the goal line as he was being hit.
Really not a whole lot there. Corey Rogers getting the corner. Good block by Allstott, and then just cramming it over, flipping the ball over the goal line. A lot of pride shown on that drive by the Purdue Boilermakers. Out of the football game and hanging tough and staying in it. Driving down for the touchdown.
And 60 yards on the day for Rogers. Creditable performance. Boilermakers with 76 yards in 9 plays. And the extra point is good. Too little, too late. It's 39-14. That hot shower's going to feel good.
It's like a detergent commercial. Poor referees are like offensive linemen. The only time they ever get on television is when they do something funny.
Farmer returning this kickoff. Oh, slammed down hard at the 21-yard line.
Ooh, brush. A big-time lick.
Great new night of television. NBC Tuesday starts with Wings, followed by the brand new Martin Short Show. Then it's the winner of 5 Emmy Awards, including Best Comedy, Frasier, and the John Larroquette Show. That wraps up with Dateline all Tuesday here on NBC. New quarterback for the Irish. Ron Paulus is finished for the day. It's Leon Blunt. And he promptly runs the option and keeps for a couple of yards. Kevin McGrew from the corner to force Blunt to the turf. Paulus finishes the day hitting 9 of 14 passes 111 yards and a touchdown.
So another touchdown. That makes 9 on the year now for Ron Paulus. And talking about all the great Notre Dame quarterbacks they've had here, Rick Meyer holds the record for most touchdown passes with 18. So Paulus already halfway to that magical number.
And of all the accolades he has gotten, the most important perhaps, as Mosley breaks free for a moment, the biggest compliment he's gotten maybe has been the confidence that Lou Holtz has in him, allowing him to throw so much, not so much today's game, but in the 3 games prior to today.
The change of philosophy for Lou Holtz. Talking about Paulus talking about his roommate reading the sports page the other day, and he said, "You're not going to believe it. You won't believe it. Your name's not in here today." He said it's the first time since he showed up in South Bend that his name wasn't in the newspaper.
And this is the computer age. Paulus has been getting email messages on his computer from a nationwide network. In fact, had 28 messages between Tuesday and Thursday of this week, including one from a man in Nebraska that was razzing him saying, "You guys have lost a game. It's going to be the Huskers' year to win the title." He had a laugh at that.
There is other ways to get to the quarterback, sometimes through your computer. And looked like Leon Blunt slipped down on the play and is maybe struggling. I won't even think about a knee, but it's like his knee sort of buckled underneath him.
He's the freshman quarterback from Lakeview Terrace, California.
And that's why you get Ron Paulus out of the game as quickly as possible on a day like this.
Irish will punt. High snap. Brian Ford pulls it down and is hit as he got the kick underway. Flag down. It'll be roughing the kicker. Lee Brush, he's been involved in some plays today. He slipped trying to down a Purdue punt inside the 5 earlier. Just made a great hit on kickoff coverage and now will be called for roughing the kicker.
Brush, that's the tough part. You think you're so close and you want to lay out and get one, and then you miss and go to the sideline and the coach starts screaming and doesn't stop till you get off the plane.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker on the defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
So the third quarterback of the day is on for the Irish, Tom Krug, the sophomore from Los Gatos, California, has completed his only pass of the season for a touchdown. Don't look for him to pass here.
He's the backup quarterback now because Paul Fela was drafted by the California Angels and ended up playing baseball. He's coming back to school, though. Won't be playing any football for Lou Holtz.
Krug was the MVP of the spring game for the Irish. And tries to run a play action. Not fooled was John Crick.
Well, there's a guy I'll be cheering for the rest of the year after hearing his story. John Crick took a spring break to Haiti, held babies instead of putting suntan lotion on. Just a fine young man. Plays the game of football awfully hard, too.
Four and a half minutes to play here in South Bend. 39-14. Irish up. Mosley, you heard the hit. Nowhere for him to go. Crick once again in the middle of things for the Boilermakers.
Once received an appointment to West Point, but declined that offer. Wanted to go to the Big Ten and play football against the best in the country, and he's going to get that opportunity not only here in South Bend, but a few trips to Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State.
Was on a state champion team in Illinois, Newman Catholic High School. He's from Mount Morris, Illinois. Draw play. Farmer racked on the hit by Bob O'Connor. And down to 3.5 minutes as Holtz, who was saying that things just hadn't fallen into place for this team. Sometimes things do. Last year was an example of how things fell into place for his team. They gathered momentum, got some big breaks, and rolled and had an excellent chance. Some thought should have been the national champion last year. Thought, as did others. And hasn't been that case so far this year. In fact, had they not blocked a field goal against Michigan, they would have won the game. Michigan recovered it and took it for a first down, scored a touchdown. Ball down at about the 35-yard line by Notre Dame. Boilers take over with 2:52 left. 2:52 left before the parties begin in South Bend. And Purdue has backup quarterback Billy Dicken on the field, sophomore from Bloomington, Illinois. A highly sought-after prep All-American player. While we have a moment, our thanks to Meg Schuff and Chris Ambrose for their spotting duties here today. And Mr. Stats Elliott Kalb with all the numbers. And there have been some impressive numbers today, chiefly in the Irish rushing department. All stops, lowers his head and bangs for a Purdue first down, gain of 12. But the highlight of the day was a fantastic run by Irish fullback Ray Zellers that covered 63 yards.
Reggie Johnson, the freshman, will never forget it. Well, maybe he will. They have no recollection of that run whatsoever. And then what was really impressive was the speed to get it in.
California in the house.
First down play for the Boilermakers. As Dicken completes the pass. That run by Zellers reminded us of an Irish play 2 years ago, the '92 season, their big game, which wound up in a tie against Michigan. It was Reggie Brooks knocked unconscious as he crossed the goal line.
This one you won't believe either. Take the pitch. Of course, now with the Washington Redskins, the spin, the turn, the stumble, the fall, the big right hook, out cold, fall into the end zone. I still think that's the best run I've ever seen.
That might have made him $1 million, you know. He was unheralded coming to his senior year at Notre Dame. Wound up being a first-round draft choice of the Redskins and one of the top rookie rushers in the NFL last season.
Well, you think about that backfield with Reggie Brooks and Jerome Bettis, now both superstars in the NFL. And there's Lou Holtz. Boy, is he missing having his son around. Skip Holtz got his first win as head coach of Connecticut the other day, but he said being a head coach is a lonely job. He misses just having Skip around to go out and have a sandwich. He said we just go out and we wouldn't even talk football, just talk father-son things, and meant a lot to him. So proud of what Skip's doing at Connecticut now.
Delayed handoff to Mike Allstott. The safe sign given by Oscar McBride over on the sideline as Allstott slides in. Oscar McBride, impressive young man. As we spoke with him yesterday, so articulate, so poised, and so much a part of this Notre Dame family. He said his first visit from Florida to Notre Dame, he knew this is where he wanted to come. Irv Smith, the tight end then, was his host, showed him around and included him in everything he talked about the future for the Irish. And everyone he met made him such a part of the Notre Dame family. And he said when he leaves at the end of this season, it will be painful. It means so much to him. From a single-parent family and is bonded with so many others in the same situation. Rodgers, first down run to the 20 as we approach the 1 minute mark. That one good for 16 yards.
Corey Rodgers doing a nice job out here today. Really shown a lot of different skills, both blocking and running the football.
And Purdue trying to salvage a little respectability late, calls a timeout, stopping the clock with 1:17. Fans didn't think too highly of it. That picture pretty well sums up the day of Jim Coletto.
This football team would like nothing better than to go out on a high note, scoring one more touchdown. First teamer's still in there. Means a lot to Purdue. May not mean anything to anybody else, but at least to this time.
The late handoff to Rogers. Made a nice run to the 10-yard line. That's a 9-yard gain as the clock approaches 1 minute. Rogers has, when all said and done, had a pretty good game.
Really has. Really has. And finally, here towards the end, get a chance to actually watch him running through a couple of holes, because in the first half, there certainly were none.
Ball stopped. Good stiff arm. That was an old-time fullback move, and drags a tackler to the 5. The cold and wet crowd booing another timeout by the Boilermakers with 44 seconds remaining.
Doc's still down there with his personal umbrella holder.
He's halfway to the airport by now, I would think.
I'm thinking he's out of the stadium by now, too. Holt's trying to stay warm on the sideline. Doc well hidden. Shoulder pads off as they work on their... Yes, sir.
Whatever Zellers wants today.
You start with patty cake when you're born, and then it goes to that. And a little of that. Almost as good as his move on that run. Yeah, this is amazing. You get a game that's a total blowout, and there's drama in the last 24 seconds.
Touchdown. Rogers on the pass reception from Billy Dicken. First career touchdown pass by Dicken.
Well, you're happy for Jim Coletto and the guys. And, ooh, just barely got that one off.
The Leprechaun almost paid for it, too. Rogers gave him a stiff arm after he'd scored.
Right at the end of it, a shot in the back, but I guarantee you, Billy Dicken does not care. On national TV, all right.
Everybody ready?
Kovich for the extra point. Flag down as both sides jumped. Contact was made.
Against the defense.
39 seconds left in the game as the Irish will go to 3-1 and perhaps improve that number 9 ranking. 21-point favorites winning 39-20 with the extra point pending here.
Everybody ready?
Kovich again for the point after. Has it. Well, Notre Dame will beat Purdue for the 9th consecutive time, but after being shut out in 92 and 93, Jim Coletto is happy with those 21 points on the board at least, if nothing else. Purdue been an onslaught today in terms of the Notre Dame offense, which has amassed 539 total yards, 428 of them on the ground, and 2 of the ball carriers for the Irish over 100 yards. Ray Zellers with 156 and Randy Kinder with 143. Ron Paulus had a good percentage day, 9 of 14 passing, 111 yards and a touchdown.
And Mike Allstott standing on the sideline, probably wondering what it would be like to run behind the offensive line that Ray Zellers and Randy Kinder had today. Well, for a while, it looked like anybody could have taken off with the ball the way those guys were blocking up front.
And on cue, the sky is starting to lighten a bit. The game has been played, at least the final 3 quarters of it, in a steady downpour.
It'll be interesting, that Stanford game next week. Bill Walsh comes back in here. Incredible upset of the Irish a couple of years ago. referee just a few seconds away now from being able to go home and wash his pants.
Twice.
At least.
Tom Krug, the quarterback, still for the Irish.
And it looks like my kids after they go out for like 1 minute. You know, I get them dressed, I send them outside 1 minute, and my boy, he sits down in the first puddle he finds.
Now hold it. You get them dressed?
Well. I usually get them redressed after I drop them in the puddle.
Pass is complete to McBride. Only his second reception of the season. Tom Krug pitched it to him. And as the sun comes out, we'll take a look at our genuine Chevrolet players of the game. Ray Zellers of the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and Corey Rogers from Purdue. In defeat, Rogers has had an excellent game, around 70 yards rushing and a couple of touchdowns. And in conjunction with this program, Chevrolet will contribute $2,000 to the National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators for disbursement to deserving college students so that they may continue their education. Once again, the Purdue Notre Dame game in the rain, once again won by the Irish, their 9th straight victory over the Boilermakers of Purdue. Lou Holtz records his 3rd victory of the season against 1 defeat. Jim Coletto suffers his first setback after winning his first 2. Coletto saying a couple of years ago he saw Lou Holtz and he said, why can you run so many plays? Maybe John Dockery will ask him.
Coach.
Good job.
A nice moment here on the field. Coach, one quick question for you.
Great job.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Coach, one quick question for you. Chemistry. You talked about trying to find some chemistry and rhythm with this team. Did today provide some answers?
I think there were a lot of good things today. The goal line offense, short yardage was bad, and I didn't like the way we finished it off. I mean, this has been the thing. If we're going to be a great team, we're going to have more of a killer's instinct and understand you play for 60 minutes, you don't look at the scoreboard. We got a few things to cover in the locker room.
Well, it's a win either way. Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Now the sun comes out.
Yes.